Where did this computer? Okay, hopefully that's working. So, so this is our part, just getting sort of feedback on ideas about the how to spread the empathy circle in XR. So those were some ideas that, and that in like XR was, sometimes there's like dominating people in an empathy, in a meeting, and then that the empathy circle could be used at the beginning of of groups, so that everyone sort of gets a chance to be heard and seen, and so it would kind of help set the tone. And then I also find that just doing these circles, getting us together, experiencing it, that this will slowly kind of build connections among all the participants here to start getting to network with each other. We have this intention of spreading the practice, and then I already see a lot of people are starting. When someone in our group is mentioning they're working in Switzerland, they have 3 circles that they're doing in Switzerland, in German, English, and French. And I know that Marto is doing it in Ireland. They just had a really big group there, and there's people talking about it in Australia. So it is kind of spreading, and I think just getting together, having this intention together will help spread it. So would you just call on people again, Bill, to just share ideas that maybe came up in your group?
Sure, okay. I'll start again. Rowan? You're muted, Rowan. Oh,
I know my computer really doesn't want to be on here.
Okay.
And my group didn't really talk about the questions, so sorry.
That's fine. That's fine. Thanks for sharing. Richard?
Yeah, one of the insights that I had in the talk is, that Extinction Rebellion initially had this thing like, okay, we want to stop society, have a full stop, saying, okay, literally stop traffic, stop this way of society. And that in a way now, although it was different than expected, the whole society kind of came to a stop. Planes are not flying anymore, squares are empty. So this insight, like, okay, this initial thing, we have to stop society, that it already happened in a way. And I sense like, hey, this could be also a new step, saying, okay, now once society is stopped in a way, what are the things that we want to support? And I also noticed through these empathy circles, I hear from a lot of people who, within the chaos and the fear and all the other stuff, that there are really nice things growing. There are mothers saying like, hey, I can talk with my daughters again. Kind of, we have every morning, we have breakfast, kind of, this is this small thing. We had in our group somebody saying like, hey, I'm handicapped, kind of, and there is so much cultural stuff that goes on. I can now be part of that in a way. So my insight would be like for XR or for society as a general, I think we came kind of to a full stop as a society. And I think now, at least what I see as my mission, like, okay, how can we identify those nice things that are happening, and how can we share them so people see like, hey, even in this chaos, there are very beautiful things happening, and how can we grow them, maintain them, nurture them, and protect them, and saying like, change is happening now. Mothers are sitting with their daughters, which might feel very simple, but I think that could be the new society, so to say. So that was one of the insight that's still buzzing in my mind.
Thank you, Richard. Katie?
Hi. Yeah, we discussed really the regenerative movement in XR in terms of how it's happened sooner than we thought it might happen in terms of the coronavirus, and how that's affecting the way that people are using this platform, which is kind of, it sounds awful to say it, but it's kind of brought an opportunity to empathy circles in a sense, to develop a little bit, because more people are probably accessing it. but there was also some discussion about what will happen at the end of this crisis. I don't think there's an end to this crisis, don't get me wrong, but an end to the corona crisis in terms of people returning back to a more ordinary existence, if that's going to happen. Yeah, I'm probably jabbering on, I'm sorry. And I've just got one more question, actually. In terms of how we use this online, it didn't come up in our talk, but it would be interesting to learn more about the tech side of it so that we've got the confidence to do it more locally. Just a side question. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Okay. And I'll let Edwin answer that at the end. Marta?
There was something about doing it as a group rather than just one-on-one. And we didn't talk about it in the circle, but what came up for me was that I've been thinking how to use empathy to sort of lobby politicians, but I was thinking one-on-one. And I'm thinking, is there a way of grouping them into empathy circles and reaching them that way? I don't know, just starting to think about it though.
Thank you. Marianne?
Yes. I think, well, we didn't talk about that so much explicitly, too much. I think that we were practicing building our capacity to listen to feelings attached to our words and thoughts, and building our capacity to change internally as a result of listening.
Great. James?
Thanks. Yeah, I think that did come up in our circle, and for me, the insight that I'm working on from is how I and even I hear in this group, we talk about bringing people in, and I'm finding it more effective to simply identify who the actors are who are already doing it and who want to be more involved, identifying them as a way of growing and becoming stronger, doing this in a more cooperative way. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Carolina?
I think oh no, you're there.
Can I speak?
Yeah.
I think, yeah, we didn't talk much about spreading empathy circle. That's true, but Katie was for me was interesting what Katie mentioned about teaching children empathy circle and bringing empathy circles to schools and kind of spreading in a young generations this practice might be very helpful. It will give us change in few years, but that's how it should be. That's how it might grow and become really strong in our society. So that was interesting, very, very interesting for me. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Sally?
Hi. Yeah. Sorry, I just ate something hot.
Right.
So, I think, in order to add something, I just, I gotta stop being afraid, of doing it myself. I'm a little shy, and I've never been the leader, so that's kind of where that goes, and I'll just pass it on.
Okay, thanks, Sally. Parry?
Excuse me, I think I don't have any idea now for now, but I'm thinking that uh, maybe I don't know how to say that. I think I want a part in this year. I want to say my gratitude for what we have now here, but I want to give a chance for us to say the things that maybe blocked us to more connected to each other here. If another session was a time, I want to explain the things that I have in this place.
Okay, thank you. Are you done?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, sure. Corey?
So for me, the idea of spreading this, I work one-on-one with clients in sharing nonviolent communication. And for me, this is a gift because it's sort of an extra skill set that I can have at the ready when perhaps more than one client, and I'm working with multiple clients perhaps at the same time, which has been the case. So I'm really grateful for that. I'm savoring that. And I'm also feeling like there's beautiful international flavor to the call today, seeing people from everywhere, all different parts of the planet, and it gives me that sense of global family. So I'm complete. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Corey. All right, Ben?
Yeah, so I think two things came up in our group that were really poignant to me. One was the ability of people to change as a result of listening. You know, I think there are a few times that brought up. I think Marianne introduced the topic, but I think it sort of passed around a little bit, and we kind of considered how we change as a result of listening. And then in response to that, I considered like my own difficulty in, you know, sometimes I can receive feedback very flexibly and malleably, and sometimes it can be very difficult for me to, you know, adapt to that. So, yeah, I think that was the most live theme for me.
Thanks, Ben. All right, Kevin.
Yes. Where do I start? What I got, I just wanted to, I guess, make just a point. Something that Richard said stuck out to me, and that everything is now stopped. And with mothers being with daughters, and it struck me as it struck me as pretty important in the context that you know, to move forward, what's on the other side of this corona thing. And there's a saying out there that says, you know, the other side of chaos is beautiful. And I think that speaks to what Richard said, in that mothers and daughters are together now. And, you know, that potentially is the leadership that we need on the other side of this thing, to be matriarchal instead of patriarchal. And yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for everyone and for everyone's time here. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you, Kevin. Leona?
Yeah, I think what's coming close to what Edwin said for me was the sense that having a range of empathy circles feels really important, so people can come to the one that feels really alive for them in the moment. So it might be just an open listening empathy circle. It might be finding one that's located in your area so you can stay connected when we're allowed out again. It might be one around a particular topic that is alive. And I mean, one that's coming up for me is how are parents who are juggling custody managing right now? I mean, really feeling for the non-custodial, for the parent who's not got the children, and how that might be impacting the family structure. And there's so many topics that are alive right now, so many, and offering some topic focused ones so people can share. Thanks, I'm done.
Great, thank you, Leona. Okay, well, there was a lot of things. I was struck by the parallels that came up between the empathy circle and then also the People's Assembly process. And also Kevin mentioned how it's similar to the kind of indigenous peoples way of also governing and communicating with each other. There's a lot of commonalities, and I think, and then the other part, which was sort of humorous, is that, people get, I know I am, very excited about it, and you present it to a friend, and they give you the sign of the cross because they don't want to hear about it. And we just kind of learn to take that in good humor, and we still maintain connection, and I'll get them in the end. That's all I know. All right, Edwin.
Thanks. You'll get them, Bill.
Yeah.
We'll all get them. We'll change the world. Yeah, make it more empathic one way or another. So yeah, thanks for those comments. I'm just putting the link in again to the Google document. If you would have some time, go in there and add some comments, any sort of final feedback or thoughts or questions to that document. That was a good way to, for us to harvest those insights and start working with them and address those questions and sort of sort the comments. It just helps to harvest and sort of build the documentation for how the empathy circle works. Kind of the next cafes, this Friday, we have 2 empathy cafes, or one is actually on conflict in XR, but it's sort of how do we address conflict? And the empathy circle is sort of the first step in addressing personal conflict. You bring people into an empathy circle who are in conflict, and it really helps to sort of unravel the threads, the Gordian knot of a conflict. Then after that, we have a support group. If you're wanting to facilitate an empathy circle, we have time for you to receive support. So that's all online. You can see the links in our work group or online. We have the next Wednesday, it'll be the topic, this time slot will be on the coronavirus. We've had one, and that will be the second, and we're looking to expand that topic. So have a whole series on it, and we're slowly working towards that. And then starting Saturday, April 4th, we're starting a 10-week series on the XR, Extinction Rebellion 10 principles. So every week we'll be looking at a different principle going forward. And so the best thing with the practice is, there's plenty of documentation, and we're just really encouraging you that, once you've tried this process, you can just go bring some family members together, bring some friends together, reach out online and just learn by doing. It's really the best way, is just invite 2 or 3 more people and create your own empathy circle, and then report back. How was that experience? We're here to support you in spreading the practice. So that's pretty much all I've got. I don't know, anything else for anybody else? Bill or Martha or Carolina, any final thoughts? It's all good. Okay, then thank you very much. It was great. The recording will be online, and couple days we'll post it. So if you want to see it, etc.
Yeah, I really appreciated the recording. This one not being recorded, actually. That was really nice because it allowed a deeper sense of intimacy.
Okay. Well, this was recorded, the overall thread. So just to let you know. So, okay. Bye till next time. Look forward to seeing you the next one.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Hi, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.